Okay, so just finished up our assignment here for the first PowerPoint or excuse me, the first Tableau here. So we're going to be looking at, does unemployment rate track claims for the COVID statistics that have been reported? So going to a full screen here. So the first chart we're looking at here is just the initial claims for unemployment made throughout the US. And we can see that, through almost all of 2019 up to February 2020, it was very moderate, not a whole lot of variance between them. And then they really start to pick up through this spring area and then eventually start to decline in August. Next one here, we have just a panel chart of states that have been hit the hardest. So typically what I've seen going through these here, there we go. So this is Florida, Georgia, California, and then, we have some other outliers like Michigan, but Texas, and then kind of that Texas, California, and then kind of the southeastern part of the U.S. seem to be hit the biggest in New York. So really, really populated places, which is not surprising since COVID, due to its nature, spreading person to person. A lot of people being shut down for fear of the pandemic accelerating through there, and then just also the nature of these states having more people in general, they're going to see more claims. But most of those really highly populated areas, the southeast, the northeast, and then the west coast out there. So then here we can just look at, this is actually unemployment on the top here. This is average unemployment rate. And then on the bottom, we're looking at the sum of initial claims that have gone through. So we can basically see that these are almost exactly the same. They almost follow exactly the same path, and they track almost perfectly through that area. And then here we can kind of get a rough look at the United States and the average unemployment as from 2019 to 2020, and the areas that were hit the hardest, essentially. So basically, just kind of what was confirmed on the map before, and it's kind of interesting at the same time because you see New York and California, they're on there. Nevada is also on there, and Florida and Georgia, which had a large spike in claims for unemployment, they don't have a super high unemployment rate on here. So it could be weighed down by having low unemployment numbers, early in 2019. It's also possible that maybe some of the people seeking unemployment didn't fully lose a job or lose their job. Maybe they were, or maybe they weren't going to actively seek another job, which is one of the standards for being calculated to the unemployment rate, being an active pursuit of finding a job but not getting one. So, and then we got Michigan up here as well, which is pretty high. Illinois, another one. And the last one here, it's kind of hard to tell exactly with the ranges used on the sum of initial claims here versus the unemployment. So if there wasn't a huge spike, if a place isn't super populated and, the spikes of unemployment weren't massive, it may look deceptively like they're not the same, but A lot of them are. So Alabama, they hit a spike in claims. They went from 10,000 claims to 325,000, and it only kind of represents this little peak here. And their unemployment jumped up 10% from 3% to 13.8. So, that's a huge jump, whereas this looks very small. So it's a little deceptive, but really, if we kind of keep that grain of salt that these aren't, based on the ranges, these aren't perfectly tracking each other, and we kind of just look at how the shapes of the graphs are, you can see that they track very well, even still on a state-by-state basis.